Hello.
Yeah, better. Mine's is like my lighting is on me. You see it?
Oh, 'cause I,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
hey Kim. Hello. Hello. I believe we're live. Okay, thank you. Hello, welcome to Girls Gabbin. We are back for another Sunday on Girls Gabbin's radio show. Today is Sunday, October the 13th. I usually get thrown off as soon as I say the date. You get busy with all kinds of stuff, and I can never remember the date, but I did good today. So I wanted to welcome everybody to the show. Andrea couldn't join us this Sunday, but she's here in spirit. Had some other things she needed to do, but I'm gonna hold the fort down for us today with our beautiful guests for the day. But first, I wanted to just kind of shout out everybody for having a wonderful week coming up. Have a friend, okay? So if we're fanning, we're not crazy.
Right.
There is a little friend that likes what you call them, smell sweets or
Yeah, smell goods. They like our
smell
smell
goods.
goods.
They like our smell goods, so they're
So they
hanging
won't
around.
leave.
They're a little uninvited, but it's okay. So we're not crazy if you see us fanning. But I wanted to welcome everybody back to another show. We had some wonderful guests, pastors on the show last Sunday, and we had almost a 2 hour show because
It
we
was,
just got to
but it was
chatting.
good though.
Yeah, it was. We had a good time. We didn't want to leave, so I think I didn't get home till late. My husband was like, "Well, where are you?" I was like, "We're still having fun." But so we're back again this time, and we have some wonderful guests that are going to share with us how they're living in their purpose on purpose. Excuse my voice. I have been kind of under the weather all week, so sounding kind of raspy. But no germs, so I won't send them home with any germs. So I'm hoping not.
Please no.
So we're going to start off. And first, before we got started, I wanted to ask you ladies, did you have anything that was going on this weekend that you were excited about? You wanted to shout out anybody before we get started? Do you have anybody you wanted to say or yell at somebody and say, you better be tuned in?
Oh, my followers better be tuned in.
My
better
followers
do.
better be tuned in too. I've been telling them, I was going to be advertising that I will be here today. So
Yes.
hopefully they'll be tuning in.
Yes, absolutely. They're on. We're calling all followers of everybody, of Maritza and Nayoka. How you say-
Nayoka.
Nayoka. Okay, y'all better be on these lives, and we're gonna check. Okay, so we can go back and see that you weren't on here. So
And I know all y'all pages.
yes.
I will inbox every one of you.
So we're gonna start off with Nayoka, and we're going to introduce her, and then she's going to tell us a little bit about how she's been living in purpose on purpose. Okay, so Nayoka Simone
Yes, ma'am.
found her love designing homes in 2016. And that's when she embraced her entrepreneurial spirit, founding Naire. Is it Naire? How do you pronounce it? Naire Interior Designs. Her mission is to assist both residential and commercial clients in creating timeless spaces. She is steadily interested in working and teaching others how to live comfortably in their own home. A House Award winning interior designer of customer service and recently featured on Fox 5 DC, Nayoka strives to design unique interiors that will have a positive impact on her clients' lives. She offers a balance of creativity, collaboration, and forward thinking. She is also, and I didn't want to miss this, but you can share a little bit more about this, but she is also a declutter advocate who believes that sometimes a correction with a mental who believes that physical clutter is sometimes a correlation with a mental clutter. Please welcome Nayoka Simone.
Ooh,
Yes.
yay.
I think I turned on the
Thank you,
volume.
thank
Oh,
you
yeah,
for
do
such a
the
great introduction.
Yes, well, welcome to Girls Gabbin.
Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you started doing what you're doing.
Well, like you mentioned, I am Nayoka Simone, interior designer. I'm based in the D.C., Maryland, VA area. However, I also travel outside of the area, most times in the Atlanta area.
Okay.
And I am an I call myself a serial entrepreneur. And the
Okay.
reason why I say that is because I am still a federal government employee for 24 years.
right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I am a mom of two, a 21-year-old
Okay.
and a 17-year-old.
Oh, grown folk.
Yes, grown folk. Yes. So doing that. But then most importantly, my passion is interior design.
Okay.
And I recently wrote a book. I just did my book launch in July of 2000 of this year.
Okay.
And I wrote a book called Leap Before You Look. So the principles to conquer fear through your life's purpose, which is so on point with what we're going to be talking about
Yes.
today.
Wonderful.
And the way that I pursued my life purpose was by discovering who I was or who I wanted to be.
Okay.
And that was through some life obstacles. Some of those life obstacles included, originally I thought I wanted to be an attorney. Okay.
Me
So
too.
just kind of follow, if you follow the journey. So I thought I was going to be an attorney. Then I went to nail school. I mean, I ran into this lady while I was working a job in the mall, and she was a African American nail tech. Okay. And I decided, you know what? I want to also do nails. Okay. So, and I wanted to be her assistant.
Okay.
So what I did was I went to nail school, and
Okay.
throughout the whole nail school, even though I still keep my license up to date,
I know,
because you
that's
never
right.
know when
That's
you need
right.
to fall back on what you originally started years ago,
Exactly.
right? And so once I went to nail school, and everyone would always ask me to do their nail design, and I was like, why? Out of everyone in this classroom, everyone's wanting me to do their designs. Okay, so fast forward some time. I then became an event planner, Exquisite
Okay.
Weddings by Simone. So I did lots of weddings, both lower scale weddings up to corporate events.
Okay.
Okay, and I love the decor. I love the whole tablescapes
Putting
to the
things
balloons,
together.
putting things together, just making sure that everything within its entirety, from beginning to end, was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, then later on, as I bought my first home where I built from scratch.
Okay.
Okay. So I just started doing things in my house, not consciously thinking and knowing that what I was doing was really turning into something.
Mm-hmm.
It started with me getting designs on my walls, hand painting by my artist, with all these different colors, as if I'm in the deep blue sea.
Ooh, you did it yourself.
No, my artist did it. She
Okay.
hand painted it.
But you knew what you
I knew
envisioned
the
it.
colors and everything that I wanted, right? Then I started, the aesthetics in my house was just amazing based on the feedback that I was getting, because I love to entertain. As you guys probably can hear in my voice, I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. I love encouraging people and motivating people to also to pursue their own life's purpose. So one day, a friend of mine said, hey, you know what? You should be an interior designer. And I was like, no, negative. I'm not doing that. And I had also made a promise to God that whatever I decided to do once I finished and put a stop to my wedding planning services, that whatever the next thing that I decided that He gave me the signal to do, that was where I was going to end up. And that
Okay.
was the last all be all. And I promised Him that I would pursue it with everything that my heart desired in order for Him to equip me with the tools that I needed to execute. Right?
Focus in on that.
So
right.
focus in on one thing, because a lot of times we get distracted on so many different areas
Right.
that we don't focus on that main area that's really critical to our well-being. And so what I did was I said, okay, you know what? I think that might be it. I went upstairs. I called a photographer friend of mine. I said, hey, listen, I need you to come to my house to do a shoot. I went upstairs. Well, I went to Zara, went to the mall, bought me a suit from Zara. And if you
Oh,
guys
you were ready.
if you guys look at my profile picture, that is the exact picture that I'm talking about.
you were
I had
ready, yeah.
a pink suit. And I had faux locks. I didn't have my actual locks at that time, so I didn't have to do my hair. I did my makeup. I went in my living room. I sat on the couch. He took my picture, and that was it. I immediately posted on Facebook that I was an interior designer. This is what I was going to do. I had no contractors. I had no contracts. I knew I didn't even know what I was going to charge people.
claimed it.
I claimed it and I
Yes.
made it my purpose
Yep.
based on what he spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so ever since then, I mean, he's been blessing me left and right. I have, even though it may not show on social media, most people may not know because I'm a work behind the scenes kind of girl.
Okay.
And I've had well over 500 clients since I've started this business.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Well over that many. And and as
Wonderful.
you mentioned earlier, I've been on Fox 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been the house winner,
Yes.
and
Big stuff.
I've been speaking on several platforms, so I'm very gracious for that. And
Mm-hmm.
so that all turned into something I didn't know that was happening, which is this book.
Okay.
I didn't know I was writing a book.
Well, you just hadn't put it down yet. You were living that book.
I guess.
Mhm.
I guess
It was.
that's
It was
what
in
it
you.
is.
It was in
I
you.
guess that's
Right.
what it is. I'm a creator more so at night, so a lot
Yeah.
of my creativity happens when everyone else is asleep.
Oh yeah.
And I have to mentally say, brain shut down, because I got to get up early in the morning,
I
right?
relate.
And so it started off with me writing principles.
Mhm.
So there's a technique to writing. So a lot of people think you can just write, but that's really not the trick that I realized by becoming an author. I realized that you needed to start with the outline. And I
Oh,
did
well.
I did for me,
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
the principles, which are the baselines of those things that I wanted to make sure that I touched on that were critical to the message I was trying to deliver in my book.
Mhm.
So as I was writing, just so I can tell you really quick some of the chapters that I
Okay.
wrote about.
Okay.
So I talked about the desires of the heart,
Okay.
faith. Now, what you and I know as entrepreneurs, when you're elevating, there are going to be relationships that are going to try to dim your light.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
everybody cannot be a passenger on the flight that you're getting ready to take.
Absolutely.
And so I felt that that chapter was very critical, not to just the entrepreneur, but anybody looking to start a business. And plan purpose. Success comes with challenges. Would you
Oh,
ladies
yeah.
agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes with challenges, and I think we need to be prepared for that. Okay? Accountability. So those days when we feel like we don't want to get out of bed and we don't want to do certain things, then who's holding us accountable for that? To make sure that that website, Lisa, that you wanted to create, how long is that going to take you to do? And who's going to put it to the fire to your feet to say, Lisa, when are you going to get it done?
Mm-hmm.
Someone who really has your best interest at heart.
Right.
So I felt accountability was something that we needed to talk about. Emotional destruction.
Mm.
We're human. We have feelings. Things happen. We lose friends. We feel some type of way. People don't show up to our events. Okay? They don't show up to our events, especially those who we thought had our backs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's some destruction there. That
Oh.
could be definitely destroying. Work-life balance. So earlier you heard me talk about me being a government employee, being a
Mhm.
mom, having my business. How does she do it all? You have to have that work-life balance, which comes in with my declutter, organization, which you talked about earlier,
Mhm.
right? So you see how everything kind of ties together.
Mm-hmm.
Then increasing your growth process. And how are we being intentional? Are we wanting to be a part of a crowd because this crowd is just doing big things on social media and we're like, we want to insert ourselves, or are we being intentional about the relationships in which we're creating? And I think that that's critical. So,
Sounds like a
That's-
very interesting. Let me
yes.
grab that so I can show them, because they need to get a. You all need to
Yes.
get your copy.
Yes, it's available on Amazon.
Okay.
And if they follow me at Nyoka, Nayyoka Simone on Instagram and on Facebook, I am Nyree Interior Designs.
Okay.
So they can always purchase their copies there.
Now let me ask you, Nyree, how did you come up with the name for your company?
My daughters, that's my daughter's name. My oldest daughter's name is Nyla.
Okay.
And my youngest daughter's name is Raven.
Okay.
And so, Nare,
All right. Okay.
interior
Because I love the
designs.
name, and I always
different,
ask. Yeah.
It's
Thank
different.
you.
And it flows. It
Mhm.
makes sense. So I was wondering where that came from.
Yes. So my daughters, and then Nyoka. Everyone calls me Simone, and it took me a long time to embrace my actual name, which is Nyoka. So when I
Okay.
rebranded about a year ago, I did Nyoka Simone. So although,
I
and
like
if
the
you
name.
guys look at my
Love the
post,
name.
It's a different name. It's cute.
I
thank
love
you.
it.
And so
Unique.
I was like, I gotta use Nyoka Simone. People butcher my name all the time.
I know, but
All the
it's a
time.
good talking point because then once you keep saying it and somebody says, "How do you say it?" It kicks in, and
Right.
that would be a name you remember before, Joe Blow, because
It's a common name.
you
But
know
your name
that
is
you
not
have to
common.
pronounce it a certain
Yeah.
way. So I think it's a plus to having to let people know how to pronounce your name. I do. I
So
think it's a plus.
Nyoka. So it's spelled Nayoka.
Mhm.
But when people are trying to pronounce it,
Mm-hmm.
I always say look at it as Nyoka.
Right. Like the business that's not Ray.
Right.
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 Yeah. Because I wanted to say Nay, but I like it flows.
Well, thank
So
you.
yeah, it's my name now.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. It
Thank
is.
you. Thank you. Thank
It
you.
works for, especially as an interior designer. It's like an interior designer name, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
well, thank you.
So.
See, I did a good job, y'all.
That means
Aren't
that.
y'all proud of me?
Look, and you didn't even name yourself, so
I
that
didn't
means
even name myself.
that was
no.
already in
That
the
was already in
atmosphere.
plan.
Yes,
So, yeah.
yes. I'm from Jamaica.
Okay.
My family's from Jamaica, mom and dad. So, I was born and raised there when I was younger. And my mom actually went to school. My cousin went to school with a girl named Nyoka.
Really?
So when my mom was pregnant, I said, if only I could lay my hands on this cousin because she lives in London. But anyway, I was like, why did you run home to tell my mom to name me Nyoka?
You didn't like the name.
Girl, do you know?
Why did you not like the name, though?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. It was a struggle growing up. For one,
Well, I
let's
guess
talk about
because-
I was
okay.
dark skinned.
Okay.
And
I
my
can
name
see.
was Nyoka. That was, think about it.
Yeah, as a kid. Okay, I can see.
Now we're talking about bullying.
Right,
which,
I got you.
When you think about back in what was that, the 90s, for me, that was bullying.
Yeah,
Right.
I get it because names
I
are,
went,
names can be
yeah.
very difficult,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Right.
it was given for a reason. So you just had to grow into.
grew
You
into
found
it,
you
I
find
guess,
what you
Lisa.
found out why you were named what you because it was a use for that name.
Right.
Yeah, you just had to get old enough to say, okay, yes, that's my name. Yeah.
So I've embraced it now.
Because now
It's who
people are
I
like,
am.
oh,
yeah.
what's their name? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
I
they
love
still
it.
say, well, which one do I call you? It's Nyoka.
But they used to call you Simone, right?
They used to call me Simone.
Yeah, so some people, and even people that when I grew up, if I had a name when I grew up with them, I just refused to change it to something else. I'm like, I'm calling you that.
You're like, no, I'm sticking with
Yeah.
the name that.
Yeah, because I'm stubborn. So yeah, but since I've met you that way, it'll always
It
be
would
that
always
way.
be Nayoka.
Because I'm not
Okay.
even a nickname kind of
Oh, look, and
person.
you said it perfect.
Yeah.
Say it again, girl. Say it again.
Nayoka.
There you go. I
See?
love it. Look. I
And that's
love
with a
it.
little twist of Latina.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, that
Nayo.
always helps the name. You can say Lisa, and it sounds very different when she say don't say
Yeah.
it, but yeah. So I love your name.
Thank
I love the
you.
business. Let everybody know again how to get in touch with you for interior. You had a good question earlier. You asked about does she do personal? Because I know you said residential and commercial.
Yes.
So do people just call you and maybe you come in and assess their space and you can,
Like
suggest
as
or
to,
do you?
let's say if you have a small room,
Mm-hmm.
like you would be able to determine, okay, this color will really expand that room, visually to make it look bigger and brighter. Like the right colors. Like if you have like a little room that's like a closet size, which is a actual room, but you would know how to enhance
Make it look.
to make it look bigger than what it
Yes.
really is.
Yes. So, my consultations is like a first date.
Okay,
That's
well,
what I call it.
we're having a
Do
first
you-
date right
what do
now.
you want to have? We're having a friend date, okay?
Okay, having girls
See,
Gabbin.
y'all
So
see
you gonna
she's getting
everybody's
she's getting
gonna
all
get
this stuff for free.
free.
Okay, free.
So we're gonna do
And
a
you
quick
know what?
consultation on
So we're gonna
live.
we're doing a quick
complimentary consultation.
Yeah.
complimentary.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna
Okay.
call it.
Yeah.
Not free. We're not gonna say free. We're
Yeah,
gonna say
because-
complimentary.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna
So-
wait for your answer. Like complimentary.
Okay,
answer.
so we're on our first date, and like I tell people, you booking a consultation with me, that's what it is. I don't know you, you don't know me, but it's our time to get to know each other, right? So the first thing when we talk about colors, and I teach, like I was mentioning to you ladies earlier, so I do teach a workshop. If you are listening to this live, let me just put this out here. I do have a design mix and mood pink edition of a workshop coming up. It's October the 26th. Okay. It's at the South Bowie location, and I'm doing it and partnering with the pediatric cancer with National Children's National Hospital. Okay.
Wonderful.
So a portion, 10% of the proceeds are going to be going to that for the month of October. And during that class, I teach some of the questions that you just asked me, which is color concepts, color theory, and we talk about what color moves you. Like I can tell you, okay, you know what? This color looks beautiful in here. But how do you feel about that color?
Right.
Your home is an expression of who you are. And what message do you want to deliver to the people once they enter into your space? You know, some people, when you walk into their home, it's dark, it's gloomy, it's not welcoming.
Right.
So I would have to sit down with you to find out what moves you. I can tell because once I pull out my color wheel and you look at it, then you're like, I can see the expression on your face, right? And if you don't know, the colors basically that you choose, basically there's descriptions. It's a psychology to it. So the color that you choose basically tells me about who you are.
That makes sense.
Yes. So, I mean, you might be a person that does, like, I don't want anything green. I don't want anything yellow. But you might be that person that wants everything teal. I want everything that's purple, which we know purple is loyalty. So you never know so it'll all be on the space, what we're trying to create, your mood, your feeling. And that's why I named my workshop Design, Mix, and Mood. Because you're creating a home vision board that you cut out of all these magazines, and you create, like you make a life vision board. You're just doing it for the home.
I like that.
And then I challenge you to say, okay, Lisa, what color do you think will go into this board in which you design? 99.9% of the people who attend my workshop get it wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
And why?
I was discussing what?
Because they're safe. They play safe.
Oh.
And when you're talking about color concepts, you can't play it safe.
Well, that's true. You do have to. Yeah.
You gotta
do.
go both. Look at this room.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at this room, for example. You guys didn't paint this room. This is a studio where you're recording. You wanted a wall that popped. And guess what? On a screen, this room is going to pop. Okay, so why didn't you choose to keep the walls white?
White wall, do
And
they? Maybe they do. But, I didn't mean to say that. Yeah. Well, no, some people do like white walls.
No
offense.
white walls.
But
They
I mean,
do.
I see how people, and I know I've played it safe. Like, I'll do. Initially, my husband is a painter, so I live in these colors. But I wanted like a crisp khaki or something for my living room. But I wanted an accent wall, but I was scared to go too far, so I did a color that was maybe a few shades off. And after I sat in there for maybe a few months, I told him, I'm gonna need you to repaint that wall because now I came out of that. I was like, I must have been really scared to go too far, but I was like, that's close.
No.
So now I want to go back and really do what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to. I held back, and maybe that's what people
Creativity
think.
is limitless.
Yeah. And I should know better, but
some people
I was
limit
playing it safe for a
themselves.
minute, so I see how people.
So do you think you should pick a color out according to your personality, or more or less the career you're in. Like some people have these professional careers
No,
and they
because
go with
it
these
changes.
neutral colors.
No, because
and then,
it changes.
Like I personally have a bubbly personality, so my house would be out like orange.
But no,
Go for
because
it.
the key thing is that's one of the things, hiring a professional so that your home can have a color story. And there's
Okay.
actually a book about that.
I like color story.
Color story. What story is your home telling? If I walk in, I don't want to see yellow, and then right next to it you have a lime color. Then over here you got like a whole
Right.
rainbow
Go all
going
over the
on.
Right.
place, yeah.
No, but you can do the same concept just in a designful way.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because that's what my and I'm really big on metallics.
Hmm.
Okay.
I have gold circle metallics, and guys, I did post this picture on my feed, and I have my dining room, which has hand painted. My artist hand painted a wall about the size of this wall behind you, or a little longer, of gold circles with texture that are layered. And it's it's metallic. It's gold metallic. It's gold metallic. It's a Ralph Lauren gold metallic. So although they discontinued it, but there's other options.
Right.
But the sky's the limit. And are you willing to invest in your investment?
Mm-hmm.
Because buying a home is an investment.
Right. Yeah.
So how are you investing in your space? And I don't understand why people are not willing to invest in their space.
That's what
It's
you are.
it shows who
lay
you
your
are.
head, you feel comfortable. I do have this thing about as I walk through the living dining room, I want them connected, that color story. I never put it that way, but that's perfect.
Right. Yeah. That should put it-
So I'm
it's a
always
good-
like thinking, okay, well that color's, it can't be.
you want it
way
to
off.
flow.
Yes,
Make
it
it
has to
flow.
flow, even what's in the room, so that I could intermingle things from this room to that room. And then Christmas is coming, so this is a good place to kind of switch over. But Christmas is coming up, so this is good to think about, because even when I thought about my Christmas tree, I was thinking about pulling my dining room colors into my living room by my ornaments being. I just love this stuff. Okay, look, so we could talk for days. So let them know, because people
She
are.
said we could talk for days.
We could, because I love this stuff. So let people know where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, so that they can get that consultation, not complimentary, because you got to pay for good information.
I'm
So,
telling you, people
but,
don't understand it.
Yeah,
It's-
so
it's-
let them know how they supposed to get in touch with you.
Oh, how y'all want to get in touch with me?
I don't know. You got email. You got you on Facebook.
So I'm more so on Instagram. I must
Okay.
admit that I'm
Okay.
an Instagram junkie. I love posting motivation in the morning on my
Okay.
Insta story and all that good stuff. But anyway, I'm at Nyoka Simone, Nayyoka Simone, on
Okay.
Instagram. And on Facebook, I am Nyrai, Nyrai Interior Designs.
Mhm.
And if you click the link in my bio, you will see the information so you can read more about me, the services that I offer. In addition to that, you can see my workshop and
Okay.
my book. Again, don't forget
Yes.
the Leap book.
And tell them again about the event on the 26th.
The 26th is a design mix and mood workshop. And guys, I want you to register because so many people were upset that you missed the last one. And if you are not following me, I do have a video from the last workshop.
Okay.
But it's Design Mix and Mood. It's the pink edition. As we all know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
But this time, because I lost my best friend to breast cancer, I'm a very big advocate of that foundation. And so 10% of the proceeds are going to go to the pediatric cancer. So 10% of the proceeds. And at the event, we're going to also have my collection there, because not only
Okay.
do I have books, but I do have my candles
Okay.
and then some other items that will be there.
Okay.
And then I have a special surprise for those that do show up.
Oh,
I'm going to show
okay.
them some behind the scenes so that they can maybe launch their own business. But you won't know that unless you register, so you got to click the link in my bio.
So y'all hear that? Okay, and you can also get her information, or even link into her to friend request her even on Facebook
Yes.
or through our advertisements on Girls Gabbin and my personal page. I think Andrea has it on her page as well. So if you didn't catch the spelling, her name is on the flyer. So go back to the flyer where we were in, advertising the show and pull it from there. But you all better be there so that you can get the special surprise.
Limited seating. I'm only taking 10 students. I like intimacy, so 10 students
I think
is all. So, and I've already had people registering, so don't miss out on a perfect opportunity, not only to connect with me, but also to learn how can you add color to your life and your home.
Absolutely. So before we get over to Maritza, are you doing, after this one, are you doing another one before the holidays are over, or they're gonna have to wait till next year?
Well, I have some big things in the pipeline right now.
Okay.
So I think the 2019 year will definitely end with a bang.
Okay.
So this will probably be the last one for this year.
Okay.
But trust me, you guys will thank me later once you guys see what I have going on. But stay tuned because I will be announcing 2 big things.
Okay.
For the fourth quarter. So to answer your question, it wouldn't be until next year.
Okay.
And hopefully it will be next year. I don't know. Let's see how things go.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
might be. Yeah, I might be.
Well, she might be really busy, so she has some other things going on.
Oh, and I'm looking for interns.
Oh, wow.
Calling all
put that out
interns.
there.
Calling all interns. I'm ready to build my empire. So if you're an intern looking to work
blessing.
out with me and to do some big things, I need serious, like-minded people who have a passion to pursue their life's purpose. That's what I'm looking for. People that are ready to take the leap.
I know that's right.
If you're ready to leap, let me help you.
So share with people who you know are serious about that would be okay.
Yeah.
So if you're in this field and you're looking to do something like this, would be perfect. Thank you so much for joining us.
So much
you can't leave because we locked the door.
I was getting ready to leave.
No, she wasn't.
I can't leave.
No, we locked doors around here. So
I'm really
not
sad.
till we're done. So now we're going to actually introduce our next guest. So let's give we're going to introduce Maritza. Maritza is a survivor of domestic abuse, violence, and rape. At her lowest point, she attempted suicide. She bought into her multiple abusers' narrative about her diminished self-worth and value, but it was then that she had her epiphany. Abuse reflects on the perpetrator, not the victim. She would fight back against her abusers by choosing not only to live, but to thrive. Maritza has delivered her message of hope to teens across the greater Washington, D.C. area through volunteer groups, presentations at local high schools, and youth centers. She has appeared at the 2019 D.C. Rally for Domestic Violence, and she is the founder of a nonprofit organization, Enough Cries, in 2014, I believe, to encourage women that they too can be survivors. She always puts God first in everything she does. Please welcome Maritza Gabrielle.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to Girls Gabbin. We're happy to have you. And I didn't share everything in your bio because I want you to kind of share our story of how you got to because I met, actually the first time we met was at Stacy Ladisaw's Safe Haven event, right? And I think you Enough Cries
I was one of the panelists.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your journey to getting to Enough Cries.
Absolutely. I want to just thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I started Enough Cries in 2014 just to pretty much put the awareness out there of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
I was raped at the age of 15, like you mentioned, and that left a big impact in my life because I was not able to tell anyone. I was threatened by one of the neighborhood guys that if I was to tell, my brother was going to get hurt.
Okay.
In that time, I was being raised in New York in the projects, so a lot was going on at that time. Drug dealers in the corner, people were hustling in the street. We were wake up in the morning, go to school. There's somebody passed out or dead in the street, and I knew the tragic that was going on, in my community, and I didn't want to put my brother in that harm. So that was something that I had to live with myself, and told my brother, like, do not mention this to anyone.
Okay.
I stayed with that hindering me for years until 2014.
Okay.
I'm going to go back a little further forward, a little bit. I met my daughter's father at the age of 25.
Okay.
And He was a drug dealer, he was a hustler, and I got used to that lifestyle. So I dealt with a lot of things because of the lifestyle that I had. And obviously, I did fall in love with him and I wanted to be with him. But things got a little bad as I gain my independency. I wanted to start making my own money and making my life right because I knew the way I was living was not the right way. And I was brought up in a Christian home.
Right.
So when you're brought up in a Christian home, even though you're rebellious, you still feel
struggle.
like, yeah, you struggle with that. You know, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing this, but
Right.
I want to do this. So I was in a constant battle with myself saying, this is my life now, but I know this is not right.
Right.
And when I started wanting to make my own money and doing me, basically living more of the right way, that's when things just turned to the left and jealousy kicked in. Insecurities kicked in. Anything you can think of that he would follow me to work to make sure I was going to work. He checked around to see who my friends were, who I was talking to. If someone randomly just would say hi, to him, I was already doing the most, something that I should not be doing. And I was being accused for it, you know, and never knew the guy or never met the person. He just simply said hi.
Right.
When I would get home, it was waiting for me. That beating was waiting for me. So it got to the point that it started every month, then it went to every 2 months, then it went to every other day, and then it began every day. And it was behind closed doors. Then it started in the streets. So people now are seeing, hey, you know, the girl that supposedly has it all together really didn't have it together because it was being now in the streets. Like if I went out to the store in New York, you don't need a car. You can walk to any place, you know. But if he followed me and he didn't like something or I wasn't wearing the right clothes in the streets, he will just beat me up. So it got to the point that
He wasn't even scared about.
no, he wasn't
somebody
care of his
seeing and
surroundings.
knowing.
And
Right.
I will call the cops. A lot of people, you know, one thing I've learned when I came out was, why did you stay? Like, if,
People
you
would
know,
ask.
why did you stay? What made you stay? And it wasn't so much the money. It was the fact that I didn't know how I was going to make it. Because at that point, I already had 3 kids.
Okay.
And I was a single mom living in the projects. And in the projects, you pay what you make.
Mm.
So I wasn't prepared to pay a full rent, you know, and I had 3 kids. And I never worked because I was living off of his money. You know, he was bringing in good money and I was getting used to that lifestyle. But then when I started working, it wasn't enough for me to sustain food, to sustain shelter for my kids, a home. So I was going to really struggle. And I was like, I'd rather stay than to struggle.
Okay.
You know, and that was my reasons. You know,
Right.
everybody has their own reason for staying in the
Right.
situation. Mine was my kids. I didn't want to, I knew that they were okay. I knew they were being fed. I knew they had a home. I didn't want them to suffer because of my decisions.
Okay.
So I chose to stay. I stayed also for, he manipulated me a lot mentally. And that's, up to this day, is my biggest struggle.
Okay.
The mental abuse. Because I feel like physically, yeah, you can get hit. It hurts. You're bruised up. You got black and blues. You're cut up and this and the third. But you heal. You know, you just may stay with that scar, but you still heal from that scar. To me, the mental abuse was the hardest part for me because when you're constantly told you're nothing, no one's going to want you, you're ugly, you just, at that time, I had just 1 year of college. You know, I left college because I got pregnant with my son and I couldn't finish school. So it's like when you're reminded every day, you're nothing, you're not going to be nothing, nobody's going to love you, that
Start to believe.
really, you
It's
start
in your
believing
mind,
it.
yeah.
And he took over my mind. And I felt like I was stuck. And because I felt like I was never going to get out of that situation, that's when I tried to commit suicide. And I would never forget. So being in the projects, you have a super that comes and checks your unit and your apartment and fixes things around. That day I missed work. I didn't go to work. And I had already had it all planned out. my kids used to go to an after-school babysitter.
Okay.
So in my mindset, I was just like, okay, I'm going to take these pills. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm never going to wake up. And then my mom is just going to take my kids. You know, this is going to be my escape. Like, I can't do it anymore. This is going to be my life forever, and I can't deal with this forever. And I guess people know your routine in the morning. You know, you see the same people every morning. And I used to see the superintendent every morning. And he'll be like, good morning, Maritza. And I'm like, good morning. You know, it was just like a normal routine. He didn't see me that morning. He didn't see me leave the house that morning.
Okay.
He took it upon himself to use the key and come in. And that's when he found me in the living room.
So people are paying attention when you didn't realize it.
Right. They ended up pumping my stomach at the hospital. I almost lost my kids for that. Because when you commit suicide, and once you get to the hospital to get your stomach pumped, now social services come in.
Right.
Because you're an unfit mom, and it's an unfit home. So that was a lot for me, because I didn't succeed in committing suicide. So now I'm like, oh my God, this was a fail. And now this is what I wake up to. Social services about to take my kids away.
Right.
So I'm so grateful that, again, even though I was raised in church and I wasn't going to church, the first thing I did was call the pastor. And I said, my kids are being taken away from me because I almost took my life away. And he met me at the hospital with members from the church, and they were like, she's a good person, she's just having a hard time right now. But nobody knew what I was going through.
At the church, they
church, they did not know. Because I would just go to church randomly. I wasn't going every Sunday or every, you know, I was just going whenever I felt at my lowest, and I would sit in the back, and I was just like, I'm just going to sit here, take the word, and go home. But when I had the pastor come in and say, you know, we know her, and we know she takes care of her kids, social services let the kids stay with me, but they were popping up by surprise.
Okay. Just
to make sure that they were good, and, you know, I wasn't putting an act for them.
Right.
And I'm really blessed, because I am a good mom, you know, and at that time, regardless that I was going through what I was going through, I always took care of mine. You know, they were my life.
Right.
And it just made me think, like, Maritza, how selfish can you be? Like, you were going to leave these kids without a mother because of a choice that you made. Because nobody put me in that situation. I put myself in that situation. And that's when I started, something just clicked, and I was like, I gotta live, and I gotta do this for them. You know, not
you just looked at it a different way now.
Yeah.
Right.
Not, I get emotional with my kids. But I started living for them.
Right.
They were my purpose.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And because they were my purpose, I looked at things different.
Right.
And even though I was still struggling, in my mind, I was already plotting, like, how I'm going to get out of this. Even if he kills me, I'm going to get out of this. I remember going to the police precinct and telling them, like, I'm leaving tonight. Like, that's it. One paycheck. I was working at the hospital because I was working part-time. I left with one paycheck, and I told the precinct, if I'm found dead, it's because he killed me.
Wow.
And he even told me, if I don't do it, I will hire someone to kill you. So that's exactly how I put it at the police station.
Wow.
And I was like, if I'm found dead, you go look for him, and you ask if he didn't do it, he hired someone to kill me.
But he's behind it, so.
Right, he's behind it some way.
Nope.
And I left New York, and from the police escorted me from New York to the next county. Somebody else, another county, picked me up from there, and I was in a U-Haul. I picked up left in a U-Haul with my kids. Every county, there was a cop waiting for me to escort me to the next county, because they're not allowed to cross counties. You're not allowed to enter another county.
But they set that up for you.
They set that up for me.
Okay.
Because every time that he would abuse me and hit me, I would report it. But I never got him arrested because I never pressed charges.
Okay.
But they had a record.
But they knew that
they had a file on me that this is something that's constantly going on. Plus, my house was being watched for cocaine. So I had a friend that was a detective, and he also said, Maritza, you really got to get out, because if
you don't want to get
raid your
caught up
house,
in that. Right.
that's it for you and your kids.
Right.
You know, whether you're doing it or you're with it or not, you're going to go
You're
down with the
connected,
whole
right.
right. So it was just a lot going on in my head, and I was just, I have to figure this. I have to get out. Like, I really have to, for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I ended up in Virginia. But
Okay.
still being here, I was dealing with the emotional stress that he put on me.
Right.
You know, and no one knew my story here, because I'm like, I can have a fresh start. No one knows me here, even though my kids were going through a lot, because I had my middle child, she used to urinate on herself a lot. If you raised your voice too loud, she would urinate on herself, like, automatically. I had to have extra clothes for her because
She
it
was
that
emotionally
bad.
affected.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my little one, everywhere I went, she was like, "Are you coming back? Like, don't leave." Like, she would not let me leave anywhere without her being there. My son became a little violent as to if any male came close. You know, he was like, I'm her protector. I'm the man, you know? So they all left scarred,
Right.
some form,
Right.
you know, and they suggested for me to go to counseling. I didn't want counseling. I was like, I got this. I don't need counseling. I decided to go years later
Okay.
in the Marine in Quantico.
Okay.
Because I had a cousin that was stationed there. And when I went, I just felt like it wasn't helping. And the way I was thinking was, if you haven't gone through it, how can you help me? Like,
Okay.
you know, you can't relate to my pain. Like, the struggle that I deal with every day waking up. Like, not wanting to wake up. Like, you're living, well, you're existing, but you're not living.
Right.
And that's how I
Gotcha.
was for many years.
Mhm.
And I had to, the way Enough Cries came about was, there was a woman's service at our church. And I was coming home from work, and I knew I wasn't going to make it on time. I was like, I'm just not going to go. I'm just going to go home. But my car ended up in the parking lot of the church. And I was like, how did I end up here? I was going to go home. But the service was about forgiveness. And I was sitting there, and because I came in late and I was in my scrubs, because I work with scrubs, I sat at the last row of the church. So not to interrupt anybody, you know, I was like, I'm going to sit back here. As soon as it's done, I'm out because I'm tired. But as the pastor kept preaching, you have to forgive. It's just, I was bawling. So you know those cries, those ugly cries that you're like, that's how I was in the background. I was like, and then we're like, who is this lady? Like, why?
What's going on back
But
there?
I had my head down, so no one can see, where is this coming from? All of a sudden, I feel like a tap. And she was like, come to the front. And I was just like, oh God, like, I'm like ugly, and I'm like, you know, crying, like, and she told me, she straight out, she was like, you have to forgive. It's eating you inside. It's going to eat you alive. You have to forgive. Whatever you're going through, you have to forgive. And all I kept thinking was, how do you, forgive a rapist? That no one knew that I got raped, you know, and I had to live with seeing him every day in school, in my neighborhood, and I couldn't tell anybody. The only one that knew was my brother and I. So it's like, how do you figure someone did that to you at the age of 15?
Right.
Then for 6 years, I dealt with my daughter's father, constantly going through this abuse, you know. And then to top it all off, my dad disowned me because I look like my mom. So now, yeah, I have a lot of hurt and anger and rage inside of me,
Right.
you know. And I'm like, you know, so she kept talking, and all of a sudden I just raised my head, and I'm like, how do you forgive? And all of a sudden the church just got quiet, and I'm like, you tell me, how do you forgive? That, you know, A, B, and C, and everyone just like kind of like stopped, because I've been going to this church for so many years, but no one knew what I was going through and what I was battling, you know. So she got women, all the women from church, just to come up front and pray over me. And the way I'm not as prayers that are like really big, and, you know, I call it the professional prayers, the warriors. I'm more like, I'll talk to God. Like, you know, God, if you want me to do this, break me. Just break me, you know. But I'm not going to forgive. You have to break me. You know, you make me brand new. You make me this way if this is what you want. And that entire service, I was just bawling. Went home and I was still crying and crying. I fell asleep crying. And all of a sudden, I had the dream that just came and said I was in a room with women and girls talking about my testimony.
You saw you there.
I saw myself.
Okay.
I was the one. I was the speaker, and I was just giving my testimony.
Okay.
And I woke up in the morning, and I was just like, sometimes we want answers, and we get the answers that we're looking for, but we don't believe them. We're just like, okay, I need another confirmation.
Right.
I need another sign.
Is that coming from you,
Like,
or is that
yeah.
me?
Right.
Or, yeah.
Exactly. So I woke up that morning. I was just like, that was just a dream. The next day, I had the same dream again, and someone was talking to me, and they said, "So, what is your organization name?" And I said, "Oh, it's Enough Cries." I'm in my dream, talking like I already started my. Oh, it's Enough Cries, and I've been doing it. And so when I woke up in the morning, I took the paper and I wrote it down, and I was like, "Enough Cries." Like, yeah, I've cried a lot. Like, this is it, enough, And I put the paper away, didn't do anything with it. I just put it aside. I was just like, this was just a coincidence. This was just what it is, But as time went on, my kids were little, and I didn't want to expose myself because kids can be cruel in school.
Right.
And I didn't want other kids to say, "Oh, your dad beat your mom," because
tease them about
what happened
right.
to me regarding to her father. And I never badmouthed him.
Mm-hmm.
I always kept, if he was there, fine. If he wasn't there, it was okay with me. But as they got older and they graduated from high school, that's when I said, okay, it's time. It's time for me to do something. It's time for me to make a change. And I sat down with them and I said, this is what I've been through. And they were like, "Mom, we knew something. You went through something
right.
since young." But because I was overprotective, I didn't let them stay over nobody's house. And that was my biggest fear. I don't want my daughters to ever go through what I went through at the
right.
age of 15. As a mom, I wanted to protect them. And I felt like I already failed putting them in an abusive home. So I try to just be overly protective with them and overly loving. And I know that doesn't make any sense when you overly loving, because as a parent, that's what you're supposed to do. But I felt guilty, for a choice that I made, that they had. Not only did I suffer, but they suffered too. So I had to make a change. And that's when Enough Cries came about. I was like, you know what? How many other women are out there feeling the same way I'm feeling?
Right.
And they can't speak on it because they're embarrassed, they're ashamed, they don't, no one's gonna really support them. The first thing that comes out of people's mouth is like, "Why you stay?"
Right. It is.
Instead of being supportive and be like, "How can I help you?" Or just don't even speak, just listen. That's like the hardest thing that as humans we cannot do. If someone comes with us with a problem, we right away are quick to judge and criticize. We don't listen. And that's probably all I needed.
That's unsolicited, because think you kind of know, but you don't. So sometimes you have to listen, because you don't know the story until you listen.
Right.
But people are quick to, people seem to be quick to fix it. I think people just naturally think, okay, well, when you tell me something, now I'm going to fix it. So I'm going to tell you this. And people aren't always looking for the fix. They're just looking for the ear, or, let me get this out. A lot of times we figure it out ourselves, but
Right.
we get defensive when people say things, because then we feel judged or whatever it is. So yes, it's hard. That is the first question when somebody goes through whatever. Well, why did you say, or what, or why did you, or why didn't you tell? That's
Right.
another one. Because I've experienced something not domestic, but being touched as a child, and I shared that in a book. I didn't share it for 40 years. Actually had to tell my mother before the book came out.
Right.
And I've told this story before. I don't tell it a lot, because I'm still, I don't know, maybe a little still uncomfortable with it. But that was the first question. Why didn't you tell? And I like that with your story, people assume, because we learned that if this happens, this is what you do. I know that's the textbook of it, but it's not reality. And everybody has a reason why they did tell, they don't tell. It's just different for everybody.
Right.
And people don't accept that first, that whatever you thought, because they assume it. Well, my mother told me yeah, I knew it wasn't my fault. I knew it wasn't me. I knew it was him. But literally, I thought, my mother's going to kill this man. So
Right.
I didn't want to tell because
The fear.
I was almost protecting the perpetrator, but it was because, okay, life is not that bad. I'm strong. I can do it. I was 11, of course, but I just thought I could handle this. So I never said anything else about it because I thought my life would change
Right.
if I did that. So it was better
And
not
sometimes when we go through trauma in our lives, we try to pretend, and me again, I try to pretend that it never existed.
to. Yeah.
You bury it so far in that you kind of blank it out, like it never existed. But as I got older, there was always trigger points that would take me back to that moment,
Right.
whether it was a scent, an alcohol scent, because when I was raped at 15, all I can smell was alcohol.
Okay.
So now it's like, if I'm going out or I smell alcohol on somebody's breath, and I'm not saying that it's a bad
Right.
thing, everybody's different drinking. Some people
Right.
are just fine, but to me,
It's a
that would
trigger.
send a trigger, and
Right.
I'm like, whoa, like it's time for me to go.
Right.
You
just feel
and
uncomfortable.
I feel uncomfortable, and it's
Yeah.
not that they've said something wrong or done
Right.
something. It's just a trigger to me, and I know it's just time for me to,
So I have a question for
Sure.
you. First of all, I just want to say that you are so powerful.
thank you.
You are very powerful. I commend you as a woman, period, to be able to have come to such a point in your own life, not for just yourself, but for your children, to be able to even share your testimony.
Mhm.
That's huge. And I'm a little emotional because there's so many other women left out there like you.
Absolutely.
And that is, they need you.
Absolutely.
They need you. They need you more now than they ever did before.
Yeah.
And that is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. There are women probably even watching on every one of our phones right now who this conversation topic is resonating with
Oh
them.
yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And they're still afraid to speak up.
And it's, you tend to protect them.
And
Yeah.
absolutely. But I just want to encourage you that although for so long you lived in fear, that you still got that signal. I'm going to say that I believe that was God's signal in your
Oh,
mind at that
absolutely.
time to say, you know what? It's your time now.
Right.
You've escaped your life's obstacles. You've escaped those challenges.
Yep.
And now is your time to help so many other people.
That's why enough cries is so.
And that's why you
yeah.
starting Enough Cries. I think that name is powerful, and I think,
Mhm.
and I want to encourage you. I mean, because I think you should start doing workshops. You should start doing awarenesses in the neighborhoods. Start reaching out to people that, like I know personally, and I will see if I can connect you with her. She's a good friend of mine, and she actually lost her son to suicide because of mental awareness.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we live in a society, unfortunately, today where there's so many people who, I'm sorry guys, because I want to share. I just want this to be a very big transparent moment because I'm very touched by it. And it's very important that we support her with this movement. And I would also, while I'm here in front of you, if there's anything that I can do to help you, whether it's by helping you, participating, granted, thank God, I have not experienced this. I don't know what that feels like.
Mhm.
But just as a woman who takes pride in this temple in which we carry around, we got to protect it. And you have children.
Mm-hmm.
You have children who've experienced that. So not only are you today living for yourself, but you're having to live with that for your children still.
Right.
But I just really want to say to you, like, I commend you. I commend you too for even sharing, because even though that this is a platform and everybody knows you, I'm not sure if they've heard it before, if you've shared it before, but I think just the mere fact that both of you ladies are sitting here and you're sharing something that's so personable, that's emotional, you know, that's impactful. And again, anybody watching the Facebook Live, on your live and on my live, you know, we've got to make change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's, you know, all month long we've been, and you kind of combined all of it, the mental health awareness, the, you know, we doing breast cancer and then the domestic violence, because it's all serious. It's gotten even worse, because it seems like a long time ago it was older, and now it's
Right.
gotten to the younger girls and even middle school age, where you haven't even developed your own mind of what's what,
Right.
and now you're having to deal with these adult kind of things. And
So
yeah.
part of the Enough Cries that I do is know your worth.
Okay.
And I think I sell the shirts Know Your Worth.
Yes.
And that campaign is more for our teen girls.
Okay.
And the purpose of that Know Your Worth is because I feel like it's very important for you to know what their worth is at a young age.
Yes.
Because once you know your worth, then you know what you would tolerate and what you will not tolerate. Once you know your worth, is like no one can tell you or control your mind, because you already know you're programming yourself to say, hey, you know what? I'm valuable. It's like I can always use the analysis of of $100 bill, even $100 bill. It goes from hand to hand. It goes from one state to another. It goes probably all around the world before it gets to you.
Mm-hmm.
That dollar can still be ripped a little bit and taped up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a dollar. It never loses its value. And that's how I explain it to the girls a lot when I'm giving programs. I do volunteer work at the Boys and Girls Club. I volunteer a lot in my community.
Okay.
Because it's like Enough Cries is my platform, but I don't just do public speaking.
I have a
use my
question.
platform. Go ahead.
So you saying know your worth,
Mhm.
and I hate to say it, but you know it could be cliche sometimes because everybody says it. What is the first step that you would give someone in knowing or being able to identify what their worth is?
I feel like everyone's different. So Lisa's worth would be different from my worth. I only can speak on my behalf. Like, my worth will be the person I become today, because I've been through so much that I value myself a lot. And I know that the person I am inside and the struggle that I have been through, I've been broken and I have been remade. So I feel like, and I know this is going to sound kind of like, but I'm the new improved Maritza. Okay.
Nothing wrong
You the
with that.
fabulous Maritza.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
You're fabulous, girl.
That's not saying I don't have my obstacles and struggles, because I do. And I think that's what makes me me, because I can relate to a lot of women and young girls. I love our youth. I work really close with our youth because it is so important for them to know a lot of things that maybe because they're from a single parent, they're not going to know that work, schools, whatever it may be, they may not have that time to teach their girls, you know. And a lot of times girls go in the streets to look for that love. You know, and once you learn how to love yourself,
Oh yeah.
there's nothing that someone can take away from you.
And it's never too early to tell them that, you know,
And
nobody
even grown
makes you
women,
worth it.
sometimes the
Yeah.
grown women, as we women, you know, we don't
Oh, yeah,
we
we
don't love
struggle too.
ourselves enough to say, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. This is
Yeah,
how
you can
I'm
go
gonna
to a
do it.
club and that you can see.
Yeah.
Well, because the world is such a different place now. So, yeah, I mean, to that with even adults, you know, everybody is going through crazy things. The world is just a very different place. Yeah, it really is.
It's like a
shift.
shift.
It's gotten really crazy. So it's, you know, it's not your typicals anymore. It's anybody, men, women, young boys, you know, you're just as worried about them. The bullying has gotten to a whole nother, everything mentally bothers people. Everybody's going through something. We have actually on my live, Lynette, thank you so much. She's sending a whole bunch of purple hearts, but she said that she's a domestic violence survivor. But she found out that she was an abuser as well as a victim until something happened, and she got therapy. But that's why I, wanted you on the show as well, because there are people who listen in, and even when we talk and we share things, somebody finds it in them at some point to open up more. So, even when, like I said, I didn't say anything for 40 years, because I thought I was good, and I was like, I'm not a Lifetime movie. I didn't go through all it. I'm thinking it's drama. So if I didn't have any drama, and then we're good. But then it wasn't until, you figure it out when you get into relationships, you get married, and there are just different issues that you have, and you're like, why am I still tripping, about certain things? And then it kicked in that this has everything to do with that.
Right.
But I just kind of pushed it aside and lived. And it might be because my parents did instill in me, my mom especially, just strength. So I used that to get me through it, but that's not all you need. Sometimes you still need to talk about it or whatever, but everybody deals with it on their own space, because it is survival mode.
Right.
You deal with it when you can physically, mentally deal with it. And you were in a space where it just couldn't be dealt with at that time, because I gotta live, I gotta take care of these kids, I gotta, so I will endure this so that I can get through the next day until something hits you. And I think enough cries, like you said, kind of touches, because it was like the message to you was that you've cried enough. Now it's time for you to help someone else get to that point where it's enough cries for them too. So that's why it came to you, because it's like, okay, enough cries for Maritza. Now it's time for you to lead someone else out of that, because you had, and we all go through things. I think that's our journey, and it brought you here. Not that anybody should have to go through anything horrible, but we use those things to, it happened for a reason.
Right. I have
and
another
you're using
question
that.
for you too. So I know you was speaking earlier about forgiving, like forgiveness.
Right.
And I know for me, transparency moment, it's hard. It was hard for me to forget. Like literally, I was in a program, a ministry at my church. Okay, I was in a ministry at my church, and the ministry that I was in, do you know that they would not let me graduate from that ministry until I wrote a paper and spoke in front of everyone on forgiveness? That's how bad my struggle was. So as I heard you earlier talking about forgiveness, have you forgiven?
I have.
You forgiven?
I have. I actually,
not to say you're going to forget, but
no, you would never forget.
Right.
I think that's why Enough Cries is here, because that's something I would never forget, no matter how many years have passed by. But forgiven, I had to learn how to forgive.
Because it's for you.
It was for me.
Do you feel free? Because I feel
I
like
felt
now when
free.
you forgive,
I
you
absolutely
feel so
felt
much-
free. And this is ironic, because when I started Enough Cries, the guy that sexually assaulted me at the age of 15 ended up sending me a message on Facebook just to say, hey, do you remember me from New York? And I just looked, I was like, is he serious right now? Like, is he serious? And right there again, it's like, forgive him. So I was, that little voice that you like, and I was like, oh my God, he's really serious. And he was like, hey, when you don't respond, you're like, hey. So I was like, yeah, I remember you. I was like, from such and such street. And he was like, yeah. And you have a brother, right? And I was like, yeah, I have a brother. And he was like, oh my God, I can't believe I found you on social media. And I was like, do you really remember me?
Right.
So I had to put it in there, like, do you really remember me? And he was like, yeah. I had to tell him, like, this is why I remember you.
It didn't mean the same thing to him. It was
no.
So when you
something.
expressed that
So
to him,
he served time because, again, he was a drug dealer and he was in prison for many years. Now he's married and has 2 daughters. So when I told him what he did to me, he couldn't believe it. He had no memory of what happened, which I do believe him, because that night, it was late at night and I was throwing out the trash. They would be in the back of the project smoking, doing cocaine, getting drunk. So as one held me, he abused me. So I did accept the fact that he didn't remember. And I don't know if it's something that I wanted to in order for me to be able to move forward. I don't know if that's, I took it for the response that he gave me, and I took it for what it is. And he kept apologizing for it. Like, at that time when I was younger, I did a lot of crazy stuff, and I apologize, if I did that to you, because I wasn't in my right state of mind. So as he apologized, it was a healing to me, because I'm like, you know what? He probably didn't know what he was doing. He was under the influence of drugs.
So, or he blocked it out, or whatever it was.
I really can't speak on it. I just knew that at that point,
you were way past
I exchanged words with him. He apologized for it, and that was enough for me to say, you know what? I forgive you. I also reached out to my daughter's father, because I knew that was part of my biggest challenge, because he had me, even though we were not together, I felt like he still had that control over me mentally. Years had gone by, but I always felt like he had that control still over me. So I called him up and I told him, I was like, I just want to let you know that you really put me through the ringer. Like, you really hurt me. And I'm so screwed up because you did this to me. But as of today, I'm letting you know that I'm going to forgive you and I'm moving forward. I'm not going to give you that right anymore over me. And that, by the time I went to bed, I felt that load off my body. Like, I felt like, okay, now my healing is going to begin, because I was actually able to forgive, not just for them, but I had to do it for myself.
Absolutely. Forgiveness is a beast.
Yes, it
and
is.
I will make the connection. It's funny that we're talking about this, because on October 26th, there will be a connection, the forgiveness that we're talking about. I'll explain more later, but I'm releasing, I'll just say that October 26th is when I started my own publishing company, and we released the first book on October 26th. We'll be in New York, Billboard style. It's going to be on my co-authors.
Obviously. Because she always in New York on
but,
Billboard.
But there will be a connection, and I will reach out to you all and say, this is what I was talking about. So just keep that in mind, because I think it's it means something. Things come up when we get people in a room and you talk about things, and then as Sharon Parker would say, the synergy. I always see the connection of why people were in these seats at certain times and everything. So I appreciate both of you all for coming on. But I want you, before we go, because we had a good time today too. We're talking and connecting with each other, and your story is powerful. And people are actually sharing on, live. So I just want you to tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, to find more about Enough Cries, or if you have any events coming up, please let them know.
Okay, so Enough Cries, you can reach me through social media, Facebook or Instagram, Enough Cries. I also am in the plan of trying to find a facility to start giving women shelter, give them, help them get on their feet, as far as working with workshops, as far as resumes, trainings, and then hopefully, if everything goes well, also an after-school program for the kids. And there I would like to have mentors, male and females, to work with our youth closely, because that's where my heart is, working with our youth.
I love that, and we're claiming it. So,
I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it, and it's
so
mine.
if you all can,
I am.
And if there's someone out there that is in this field that can help her to get these things moving, I mean, reach out to Maritza, reach out to me, let me know, and I'll connect you with her, because this is what this is all about. This is why Girls Gabbin is here, and I just so appreciate you all for joining us. And Andrea is with us in spirit, I'm sure. So I just want everybody to know Andrea couldn't make it today, but I have enjoyed this show.
I have too.
This has been some great information, very empowering and inspiring. So we kind of dealt with designing and making beautiful outside and inside. So the synergy here is just absolutely wonderful.
I wanted just to add,
Absolutely.
just for the viewers,
Mhm.
if in any county, there's always a hotline, a domestic violence hotline.
Okay.
They're strictly confidential.
Okay.
They don't share any information with the police precinct. If you just want to talk, you can call the 800 number. Every county has their own 800 number.
Okay.
There's someone there just to listen.
Okay.
Unless you want to pursue something further, they'll help you do that. But for the most part, they're there to listen. And if you have any questions, again, you can reach the 800 number in every county that they have. And also, don't ever feel that you can't speak out or you're scared to speak out, because there's always help. There's different types of help out there.
Right.
And it's more so now than back then, because back then it was always in a hush. People are now speaking out, and there's a lot of programs out there for domestic violence, for rape victims, many programs.
Right.
So don't be afraid to reach out to someone and speak to someone. You're not by yourself. Just
So
know
in
you're
every
not alone.
county, you said it's a different 1-800 number.
Right.
So depending on what county you're
The
in,
hotline, domestic violence.
go to the hotline number. If we we'll get a hold of those numbers.
Yes.
And try to post them on our site and on our Girls Gabbin page, so everyone will have them. But thank you all so much. I appreciate everyone for tuning in to Girls Gabbin. We'll be back next week. But thank you, Maritza. Thank you, Nayoka.
Thank you.
Yes,
Say it again. You see she didn't say my name. Say it again.
I said Nayoka.
Oh, I thought I heard the E.
I did kind of say, but I was already going into my next word. But yeah, I'm gonna start practicing.
Yes.
Nayoka Simone. Nayoka.
You are a mess.
It's a beautiful name.
Well,
I love
thank
it.
you.
And
Thank
then we
you.
got names in here today. Look, mine is plain Jane. This is like Lisa. Okay, but we got Maritza, Gabrielle.
She's so silly.
Nayoka.
Yes, because I love that.
Yes.
Maritza.
So y'all giving name energy today, right? And I come
Yes.
with some Lisa Dove Washington.
No, because I say in Spanish, I say Lisa.
Lisa,
Every
say it
time
for
I
me.
say Lisa.
Lisa. And
See,
you
yeah,
say Lisa.
That's nice too. Lisa.
Lisa is the same no matter what.
Well, it depends. It depends.
Well, you can't go anywhere. Where do they say Lisa different? Now, I do have a girlfriend
Probably
who's...
Puerto Rico somewhere.
I
like
just said
saying
Lisa,
Lisa.
like
Yes.
Leesa, Lisa.
Because my
No
friend,
Leesa.
I know, but
That's
that's the
not
way
in
I'm
the baby
pronouncing
book. My girlfriend's name is Lisa. She spells it Leesa, and I always tell her that's not in the book. That's a made-up name.
Oh, okay.
She says mine is
Why
Lissa,
are you
and
putting
hers
her
is
by?
Lisa.
Right, Lisa.
Lisa comes from
Well,
Elizabeth.
we're just going to call you.
Yes, we were having a
Lily.
little name thing going on here. But thank you all for tuning in, and please tune in next Sunday. Next Sunday, we will be having, we have a shout out from, thank you so much, Lynette, for tuning in. She's tuning in from North Carolina.
Woo, North Carolina.
And she actually even shared some information in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. We have Safe Alliance Center for
Thank
those
you,
who are having
Lisa.
problems with
Or Lynette.
Lynette, yeah. Those who
Got me
having problems.
saying
You got
Lisa.
Lisa, I know. If you're having some issues with domestic violence and need a place to reach out, thank you so much, Lynette, for sharing that, because it may be some other people from North Carolina.
Right.
Next week, we'll be having the co-authors from my book, Unleash Your Superpowers. It's 6 extraordinary stories on discovering and accepting powers from within. And so I have 6 co-authors in my first book under my publishing company, Touched by Dove Publishing. So they will be in the house.
Yay.
So please tune in next week. But thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank
You're
you, thank you,
welcome.
thank
We
you to all my
appreciate you.
followers who have been
Yes.
on my live. You stuck
And
it
we-
out with me.
look.
Thank you so much.
And we will
You know I'm
definitely
going through
have
this
them
list
back, have you
to
all
see
back.
who's-
So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
guys.
Thank you, ladies. This
You're
was
welcome.
great.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
25
Really good.
minutes.
Yes, because it was like, let's keep going with this. So,
This was good, girl.
yeah.
You are amazing.
Thank
Good
you.
information.
I need to have. I think I have your information on social media.
Did
I
y'all
added
find
you.
it?
Mhm. But you know what?
on Instagram or Facebook?
No, I was just gonna say that. But you know what? You're not on Facebook. You're Instagram baby. So.
But you
made
do
that
have
clear.
a Facebook page, right?
She do.
I do, but
But I didn't
really
friend-
I'm
I
more
could-
engaged with Instagram because so many people.
Because I'm on all
Are
of
on
them, so I
Instagram.
actually push everything out to Instagram, Twitter, and
What's your Instagram?
Enough cries.
I think we're connected on Instagram, but not Facebook. I think I'm maxed out.
On
So,
Facebook.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm reaching that too.
Nico, we're good.
Did you find
Not
it?
sure. You know what? Because
Here, put yours.
okay.